So I'm gonna get this started. So once again, this is Coach E, the Outfield Guru, coming to you from Chicago, Illinois. Another episode of The Recess. So today, I got a very special guest. We got head baseball coach of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, Coach Carlos James. So I'm gonna give you just a brief introduction because there's gonna be a lot of people from Chicago like, who is Coach Carlos James?
I know, right? Tell him I'm Marvin Freeman's cousin. How about that?
Hey, you good?
I'm good.
CBS.
I'm good in the South.
Absolutely. So Coach Carlos James, he was the 2013 SWAC Coach of the Year. They won the SWAC conference on the west side of it in 2014, 15, and 16. So they actually had the three-peat going. So Coach James, I want you to talk to us about a little bit about your coaching journey and what really inspired you to really coach, and kind of where did that begin?
Well, being honest with you, it was more God, man. I really didn't want to coach because, you know, I'm just like any other baseball player. When you chase that dream and you get out of it, you kind of want to distance yourself a little bit. And I was actually working at the railroad, man, and the little league that I started in, you know, they had a little cleanup weekend. So I get off of work in the morning, go out there to help clean up, and they had a draft. And when they had a little draft, I was supposed to go and help some young guys like be over this team. There's a new team started in the league. And I was like, well, I'll do that. And it was because there's a man named Theo Dickerson. Actually, he was over the league at the time. It's somebody that I looked up to and admired. I even played, you know, little league football for him and stuff like that. So he was like, would you go out there and just kind of look over these guys? They're young and they got these young players, and just kind of keep an eye on them. I was like, okay, I'll do that. Well, long story short, I ended up getting strapped with a bunch of 9-year-olds that played in the 12-year-old league because the other young guys ran off. And I started to develop, you know, I started to see baseball again in its purest form. You know, when you get kids that's 9, 10 years old and they just learn the game, you know, they wide eyes, bushy tail, they want to do what you ask them to do. So I kind of found my passion for the game again. And in dealing with that, I left from dealing with 10, 12-year-olds to traveling baseball when it kind of just started in Arkansas. I was a part of this team called Arkansas Prospects. And what we did is similar to what everybody does now. You try to get the best kids around the state. You travel, you know, so they can get scholarships and things like that. So that led me to a guy named Alvin Rittman, which is now a major league scout for the Pittsburgh Pirates. At the time, he's with Seattle. And then also Dave Clark, which is he's a base coach for the Tigers now. They had a facility over in Memphis, and they asked me to join their program. So I got to join when they were out on the road. I got to run the facility. We had travel teams, things like that. So I developed that fire and passion again for the game that I had lost, you know, through playing. And I was at home in between about to get a full-time scouting job with Seattle, to getting a call from Arkansas Monticello, and it was like in I would say April, and they let their coach go and they brought me on to be the interim. So when I get there, I got 11 players on the team, right? All the players that quit and all that, and ended up being the interim for a year. We made some strides. We didn't win a game, but we actually played better. And then the people at the school asked me to apply for the job, and I ended up getting it, you know, and it ain't nothing but God, because in that situation, if you know, Arkansas Monticello is not an HBCU and had never had a black head baseball coach, even in the conference, in the Gulf South at the time. So, you know, God opened those doors up for me, and here I am. You know, I ended up staying there 3 years. The job here came open. Actually, it actually came open when I was in school at Monticello. Actually, my players are already back in school. All of a sudden, Skip Perkins calls me. He go, "Hey, do you want this job?" And I was like, I thought he was playing because we had a relationship before this. So I was like, "No, I don't want your job." I hung up on him, right? And then so he calls me right back. He go, "Dude, do you want this job or not?" So me not thinking, I'm still thinking that, you know, he just upset about something or whatever. my players are already on campus here at UAM at the time because we started school a little early. So he said, what is it going to take? So I was like, give me 5 years, 50 grand, and I'll come, right? And he goes, okay. And I go, whoa, what did I just do? You know? So I had to go tell my boss that, you know, hey, I'm talking to UAPB now. And long story short, I end up here like 2 weeks later. School had already started here, and I landed here at UAPB, and it's been a 10-year love affair. I'm going to say that.
Absolutely.
You know?
I got to give a couple shout outs. I see some people join. I got to give a
Cool.
shout out to Coach Marcus Rogers. He's a UAPB alumni. We got
Yeah.
Smoke representing the Grand Fam.
Yes, sir.
Norton, JC Sports. He's a Prairie View alum. Q Huck. Huck 2.1 is UAPB.
Yeah.
With the muscle. Christian Tyler, he's an Alcorn alum. Troy is an Alcorn alum. So we got a lot of swag love going on.
Swag love, baby.
Coach,
yeah.
Coach, I see you, baby. What's happening with you? What's happening
cool.
with
That's
you?
my guy. That's my guy, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, until the game starts, that's my dude until the game starts. After this, me and him, we got the gloves off. We going at it.
Okay. Okay, so that's kind of going to bring me to my next question. When you're recruiting, what are the top 3 qualities you look for in a baseball player, right? So besides, you know, the eye test, besides what Baseball Report is saying, what are 3 qualities that you look for in baseball players?
Well, we have 4 here at UAPB. I kind of brought out my program module here so I can kind of go over it. But first thing we go for is high academics. You know, that's number 1 because, you know, as well as I do, coming to playing baseball, there's no full scholarships in Division I. So first of all, you got to have, you know, high academics, you know, because you got to need some academic money to help you, you know, to be able to get along in school. Second thing is high character guys. Third thing is superior athletic ability. And the next thing is a strong commitment to winning. You know, we try to get kids that come from winning programs because winning breeds winning, you know, and it may not have to be the top tier guy that comes from that winning program. But if you get a bunch of guys together that know how to win, then you got yourself something because winning kind of spreads on its own. So those are the 4 things we look for, with academics being really number 1 with HBCU and the situation we're in financially. We got to have some guys that's got some academics where you can, again, put them on academic aid, add some athletic money to them, and then they may leave here with less debt. Because that's the thing that I try to do with my kids, and that's what makes the academics so important, that when they leave here, I don't want them to leave here with a bunch of student loan debt.
So that's also going to lead me to my next question. What are your, I wouldn't say pet peeves, but as a college coach, you go see thousands and thousands of ball players. What are some turnoffs or something you just close the book on kids about? And I asked you this not to, I'm going to let you elaborate on that, but I asked you this because I know myself as a coach and colleagues and friends of mine, we're always preaching this. And sometimes, you know, the kids hear our voice a lot and don't believe fat meat greasy, right? So I want everyone, and I know we're going to have the same response, but I want everyone to hear from a Division I coach. What are some things that'll get you written off or a coach not looking at you?
First thing would be, you know, when you come in the park, how you dressed. I look at the way a kid walks in the park. Is he dressed right? Or if he's not dressed, would he come to the dugout, get his stuff on? I kind of stand by dugouts most of the time so I can hear what they talking about, because I want to hear what their mindset is when they walk in. How do they prepare for a game? You know, when they come in and get their clothes on, get out on the field, are they playing around? Are they playing catch seriously? Even the catch play is huge for me. If you're sitting there trying to throw curveballs and change ups and all that, and you're out there playing, that'll get you written off pretty quick with me, because, you know, at this level, we don't have time to baby you. And when you give you things to do, we have a lot of time to get things done. So we look for people that's going to be on time. They're going to be about their business, and then they understand work ethic. But you can see that with the way they prepare for a game. The other thing is that's a big turnoff for me, and I know maybe a lot of people don't want to hear it, is parents. You know, I hate to see parents coddle kids, because that kid walks in there and his mom is dragging his bag and his dad carrying his glove and then every time he get hot, they're running Gatorade and hot dogs down to him. Well, he's not going to be any good for me, because at this level, I don't have time to deal with that. You got to grow up. So if you need to be petted and prodded, then this is not the place for you.
Love it, Coach. Love it, Coach. So on that note, I'm gonna kind of switch gears. So talk to me about, because this is something that happened when I graduated, right?
Okay.
So talk to me about the Torii Hunter baseball field, the new renovations. Like, how did you get this done? How did this come about?
Again, God. I'm not going to even lie to you, because you had Torii was the initial guy that got involved with putting this stadium together. Then also we have Bill Jones, which is a prominent businessman around Pine Bluff and now in the state of Arkansas. He's branched out into Tennessee now, of course, but those two guys really spearheaded getting the baseball facility to where it is today. And they did it all with their own money, and I can't be more gracious or thankful for those guys that they saw something in our program and the things that we were preaching about UAPB baseball, what do we wanted it to get to, and they put their money where their mouth is. So, and then, and just all the other people that maybe we had a fundraiser that we used to do every year to help build this stadium at the governor's mansion. I got to give a shout out to our governor, both of them, that we've had to allow us to come into the governor's mansion and do a dinner and charge $4,000 almost a seat. It's been great, and then all the title sponsors. We had title sponsors, $25,000, to come in and believe in what we're doing here in Pine Bluff, and it has we've reaped the benefits for it with the facility that we have now.
Absolutely. Major shout out to Mr. Jones. Major salute to Torii Hunter. One of the goats. Major salute to Torii Hunter.
Definitely.
Also, so with the stadium and given your success in the SWAC, I've noticed over the last couple years, you've got some draft picks and some free agent deals for guys in your program. Can you speak Can you speak to some of those guys? I'm not familiar with a lot of these young guys, and I know them coming from UAPB or SWAC school, a lot of people up north really don't hear about them getting signed and the success they have. So can you kind of elaborate on that?
Well, I'll just talk about the recent three we've had. We had, man, my mind going blank now. I'm getting old. But we had Andre Davis, which was a 7th round draft pick by the Kansas City Royals, left-handed pitcher, 6'5", and he was anywhere from 93 to 97, off the bump. He actually, the guys in Chicago should know, he was in the trade for Mega Cabrera, because actually right now he's in the White Sox farm system now, because he got traded from Kansas City to Chicago for Mega Cabrera. He was actually in that deal. So that gives you the type of talent that kid has. We had another kid named Kevin. Oh my God, my mind going blank. But anyway, we had Kevin. Same thing. He got drafted in the 21st round by the Philadelphia Phillies, and actually now he would have been starting his first year as a minor league pitching coach for the Milwaukee Brewers. His name is Kevin Walsh. Actually, really good guy from New Jersey. Took a chance on us, came out here, and he fulfilled his dream of playing in pro ball. And now he's a minor league pitching coach for the Brewers. And then last guy we just had was a free agent signing. Thank you, Till. Till, he brought the names up for him. I forgot about Alcantara, too. He was a 35th round draft pick by the Tampa Bay Rays at the time. And he was also the SWAC Player of the Year in 2013. And then we had Ricardo Sanchez, which was, he didn't get drafted, but he got picked up by the Royals in a free agent deal. He spent 2 weeks in rookie ball, and then they moved into high A in Lexington. He won a championship. And then this past year, he got invited to big league camp before we went on this COVID-19 sabbatical. But he was already in big league camp, and he didn't have number 70. He had number 40. So that lets you know that they thought a lot of that kid coming out of our program. So, I'm just like every other coach. Well, most of the coaches in the SWAC, we have our scout days, and we have our connections, you know, with different people within Major League Baseball, you know, because we do a lot of work with them as well. So we got the same connections, but it comes down to, can the player play? If he can play, it don't matter where he is. We have the same type of arm reach to be able to call somebody and go, hey, look, I got a guy that can play at that level. And if you got an opening, you know, hey, take him. You know, so I think kids need to understand that too, especially African-American kids. When they look at HBCUs, they don't think it's a place to where they can go and get drafted or signed, but you can, you know, especially nowadays. And the other question, and I know I'm taking this a little bit further, but, you know, getting to that, talking about black kids coming to HBCU, your top tier kids, you know, my question would be to them is, how many African-American kid that goes to other schools other than HBCUs actually, one, graduate, two, get to play, three, get to go pro, four, graduate? And I would like to know what that stat is over the last 10 years. Because I can tell you this, before that 10 years, of course, and probably since then, you probably got more kids out of HBCU that are African-American that get the opportunity to come to a HBCU, play there 3 or 4 years, get drafted, and then make it out and with their degree, which that's what you come to school for anyway.
So, and when I hear you say those 3 components about the questions that, you know, needs to get answered, so how can we break that negative stigma within, you know, because we spoke about this earlier a little bit this week, from the parent standpoint, because everybody's getting recruited out of travel ball, right? The travel ball organizations, and also sometimes the black college coach who are up against a lot of obstacles, to which their resources, which you mentioned earlier, their resources, the school might not be giving them a $100,000 budget to go across the country. They might get $5,000. And they say, hey, I can't wait.
We're not getting 5.
That's cool. That's a reach, right?
That's cool. We ain't getting 5.
How can we get, let's say, all stakeholders to break that negative mental stigma?
I think it was like what you said, you and Coach Smoke had the interview. Starting early would be one of the things. And that's difficult for us because we already don't get a lot of recruiting money, which I don't get any here. I don't have a recruiting budget. And I can bet most of my colleagues don't have that much either. And it's hard to go into your boss and go, hey, I need to get some money and go watch a 14U tournament. You know, I think that's going to be a thing to where we have to work with you guys better and form better relationships and better networks with you guys, to where even like at my place, we may have a 14U tournament, say at Pine Bluff this year. Next year, have it at Grambling. Next year, have it at Jackson State or Alcorn or something like that. You know, maybe we form some type of partnerships like that, where, you know, in the 14U circuit, we put on our own tournament, because you know as well as I do, I call them handlers. You know, the handlers of the players kind of direct them where they go. And I think that's another thing that us as HBCU coaches, we have to fight, because we may get into a kid, especially an African-American kid, and he may like our school. He may even like you as a coach, but you got that handler going, no, you shouldn't go there. You're better than that. You're better than that. And they're not telling that kid the whole story. You know, you're only as good as where you are, you know? So, and I can say that to be fact here at UAPB, like the times that mentioning those guys I was mentioning to you before, that we've had really good teams. And we beat TCU, you know, we beat Missouri, you know, we beat Kansas, we beat Alabama.
Kansas was just coming out. I was watching Kansas online. Kansas was
right, and all those schools have been ranked. You know, Grambling has beat ranked teams. Southern has beat teams ranked. So it's not that we can't do it. We need the players to be able to do it. And one thing I can assure you is, the other thing I think the kids, we need to do a better job as is the parents and us kind of having an open dialogue, like on a platform like you have now, to where they can get to know us and know the things that we're putting down. Because for me, with my players, the first thing is going to be them growing up being responsible and being an adult and being a man and learning how to do those things. Because the baseball part, if they're here and we went over our recruiting criteria, we already know they can play. The thing that we worry about is he going to get his degree that's going to give himself some options to where when he get to year 3, if he gets drafted, he's only 1 year away from graduating. Or if he stays 4 and get a free agent, he leaves here with his degree. And now he's out playing pro ball where now he has options. He don't have to be there to like, hey, if I don't make this, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I just fall off the face of the earth. So, parents need to realize you got to send your kid to a place that's going to play for somebody that's going to be an extension of you. And from what I see it, if you playing for somebody that don't look like you, they may not necessarily look out for you. It's just like being it's like being at an amusement park and a water park and something get to happen. First thing you're going to do is look for your own kids first. You're not going to look for somebody else's kids. So I think our parents need to understand that. But you also, and I know I'm elaborating here because I was a product of that. I chose to go to another school, which if I had to do it all over again, I would have either went to Jackson State or went to Southern, and I probably would have played in the big leagues, because I would have got a chance to get out there, one, have somebody that actually cared about me as a man and the things that I need to learn as a man, the discipline and things like that. And two, the opportunity to be able to get out on the field every day and develop. And I use that term softly because that's the knock against HBCUs. A lot of the other schools will come in and say, well, you can come to our school because you're going to get developed. We got Rapsodo, we got hit tracks, we got this, we got that. But what kids don't understand, development in baseball is innings in playing. You got to go through the situations. Well, why not come to HBCU and get a chance to be in those situations to where if you fail, we're going to give you an opportunity to go back out on that mound the next time or the next game or the next at-bat, or you get 20 and 30 at-bats to figure it out. Whereas, like I say, I came from that type of school. You get out there and you don't do good in that pinch hit at-bat with second and third, and that guy's throwing 97 in the eighth, and you ain't played in 15 games, and then you ain't going to play no more.
Oh, wait.
And then now where are you? You out of the game. So, that's the thing I try to let them understand. And also, when I went to the Breakthrough Series, try to let those kids understand all it takes is like what Chris Webber and them did at Michigan. You get a group of 10 of those guys out of the Breakthrough Series that's committed to all these other big schools, decided I want to go play for Cooper at Grambling or Coach James at Pine Bluff or Carrick at Southern or Brett at Alcorn, we'll be ranked in the top 25 as well. This is how it goes. Yeah.
So I know take a couple comments. Ro Coleman said, let's get it done. Shout out to UAPB Lions Roar, the official media having UAPB. But yeah, to speak to your point about the actual black college tournaments for 14U, the only reason why I harp on 14U because, like I mentioned with the interview with Coach Smoke last week, being a former 14U coach, I've never seen this in my life before, but it is happening. So I'm going to challenge your boss, Coach James, and Southern's AD and Jackson State's AD. Let's get together and make this thing big. Let's have a national 14U showcase for the HBCUs that happen at different colleges from summer to summer. And I'm talking about making it big. I'm not talking about just doing it just because, okay, let's do it just to say we're doing it. Let's make it big. Let's get endorsements. Right. Let's get Nike behind us, Adidas, Champion, whoever wants to take on that. Because to agree with Coach James, if you look at the Major League draft over the past 5 years, those top 10 picks, a lot of them have been African-American, born in the United States. So it's not that blacks cannot play this game or are not playing this game, but we are not given the actual resources or opportunity at the rate other races are getting it. And this is going to kind of lend me to my next question for you, Coach James.
Well, before you go on with that, getting back to what I was saying about players needing to really look at HBCUs, because you got to also understand, if you do go pro, and I ask this question to most of them, how many 5'2" black players that are in Major League Baseball? Well, I'm going to say this. How many players that are African American in baseball that are not 5'2" players. 5 tools, right? So you have to be able to develop. You have to get somewhere where you can play, because if you're not operating at 5 tools at that level, you're not going to stay around and be a journeyman and have 2 tools and just DH or just come be a utility guy. You know, so you got to have something else to fall back on when you leave the school that you at. That's what I'm saying. So if in saying that, I think a lot of kids should look to HBCU so they can get a well-rounded experience.
Okay. And you mentioned the 5 tools. So right now, you know, we're going through COVID-19 and,
yeah,
you know, social distancing, and we don't know when this thing is going to be over. What's some advice that you can give high schoolers right now to stay ready?
It's more or less anything that you can do around the house. Like what we used to do is I made my own tee, and we had a fence, and I go out there and take, you know, 200-300 cuts a day. You know, took a tennis ball and throw it against the wall. You know, I was an outfielder, throw the tennis ball on top of the house and catch it. Even when I was out in we used to call it the projects here in Pine Bluff, but out to my auntie's house, I would throw it on top of the 2-story building, hey, and catch it, you know, in the sun. That's how I learned how to catch the ball and shield the sun, through letting the ball come off the top of the roof and catch it in the sun, you know. So there's a lot of things you can do around the house that can get you better, but it's just all a matter of your want to. You know, you don't need a gym, you don't need a batting coach or nothing like that. You know, you just need the will to want to get out there and work and put the tools and use what you have around you to get better. You can always go outside, you know, in your street and run sprints. You can do push-ups at home. Tell you one thing I used to do, I used to take a string and put it around one of them. They used to have the little Christmas ornaments. They had the little styrofoam ball in the middle. And so I wrap around, take the ball to the top of the ceiling with a broomstick on and just sit there and hit it. You know, just play with it. Get you some beans. You know, get under the carport or get out behind your house. Throw those beans up and hit it with a broomstick. You know, it's hand-eye coordination. So it's a lot of things that you can do to get yourself prepared, you know, to be able to play. And then with kids nowadays, playing a video game, if you actually understand what you're doing and playing, what's it, MLB 20 now, you can understand the game just by playing the game. You could understand where to go with the ball and all like that. So there's no excuse nowadays for not getting better.
Facts. I see UAB Lions Wars on here, so I'm gonna go out on a limb. So I hope they're still on here. But UAPB Athletics. So one of the things that Coach James mentioned was the financial burden. There's nothing you guys can switch about that. But what I'm going to do is right here, April 24th, 2020, I'm going to play as the first, after this interview, I'm going to play as the first $100 towards the UAPB Baseball Foundation. Now, listen, this is going for baseball. Don't put this money into the railroads. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But that's how we have to do it. You give it to, you write the check to UAPB Baseball, right? And I'll give you the address. And you make it in care of me, and I put it in. We got a 960 account on campus. That's a discretionary fund that we can use for whatever. Now, our foundation account, you know, that's for, you know, Bill and Torii and those guys like that give big dollars, that because we can't touch that at all. But in that 960 in our discretionary fund, we can always use that to buy balls, you know, screens, nets, you know, shoes. It may pay for a meal on the road, anything, you know, any little bit helps us.
And I mentioned this, and Coach James is going to text me after we get off our interview, and I'm going to share it to my audience, especially everybody. I have about 500 friends that went to UAPB. I got about 100 friends that played for UAPB baseball. So he mentioned this earlier about the financial burden, and I know I'm sounding redundant, but he mentioned, I can't express this enough, right? So with the quarantine happening, it gives us a lot of time to reflect, and the only way that we actually can make a change is through financial gain. There's no, it's America. There's no There's no getting around it. And it's college baseball, right? It's
Yeah.
not it's a non-revenue sport. So what I'm saying is, Coach Ernest Horton, I'm going to pledge the first $100 today, April 24, 2020, towards the UAPB Baseball Foundation, the 920, or however the technical terms is.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pledge that 100. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out on a limb. Let's do a month-to-month campaign. And I'm going to pledge $100 this month. And I'm going to challenge 10 other people to pledge $100. Then they're going to challenge 10 other people to pledge $100 until we get to enough money to where Coach James can get out and come to every tournament in Chicago, Los Angeles, Houston, Texas, New York. Yeah. So we can actually give the black baseball players early an opportunity saying, hey, check out a black school. And then I challenge all the SWAC schools to start this. It's not just about Pine Bluff. It's about all the SWAC, MEAC, SIC, CIAA. But, and I know I'm getting a little long-winded with this, but it's very important. A lot of times what we do is, I know it takes us a while to get settled with our families and everything, but if we're not willing to donate financially or time and all that stuff, there's nothing we can say that's going to convince anybody, right? We have to do it with our dollars. Everybody hears the black dollar, support black and all this. So like I said, I'm going to, after we get off the call, I'm going to pledge the first $100 towards UAPB baseball, and I'm going to challenge 10 friends. And then I want you all to challenge 10 friends. And let's make this a snowball effect.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man, because finances play a big part in the product that you put on the field, you know, from the beginning to the end. You know, just a quick little story about just our program here in the last, I would say from 2012 on. We had a point there from 2012 to 2016 where we had unlimited academic money here at UAPB, right? And if you look at our record during that time, we were winning because we had the academic money to be able to add the little bit of scholarship money that we do have, because we're not fully funded. We only have 4.5 scholarships. So being at 4.5, we was fortunate enough to get guys that were really good in the classroom that can play ball, and the record reflected it. The competition level of the teams that we put out there, it reflected it. We won 3 straight division titles during that time, and we was making some headway. But here recently, from 2017 to this day, we didn't have as much academic money. I think it got cut from like $2.5 million to $700,000. So we wasn't getting we got the academic kids, but we couldn't give them any money. So consequently, we suffered on the field, you know, especially within pitching. But, you know, Coop's on here, so I got news for you. We got our $2.5 million in academic money back. So I look to get back on track here in the next couple of years because I'm coming for him. You know, that's my guy. I love him. But we have some battles, man. When I say I love playing against Grambling, that gets me going right there, man, because Coop going to have his guys ready, and they're going to be ready to rock and roll. And we have 3 good games every time we play each other. So we going to come back. I can tell you that right now. We're on our way back. And then with your help, with alumni, you know, adding and giving to the program, that's going to help, you know, us in a major way to be able to, you know, not only compete, but give the kids that come here a great experience. You know, we want to make that experience even better than it was when you were here. You know, before we leave, I'm actually at the field. I can turn my phone around where you can actually see our stadium now. Well, I know it's way different than where you were out at that park, at Regional Park,
baby.
Yeah, but, you know, now we got a stadium with the bells and whistles. We're looking to build an indoor facility here soon. Once we, you know, with COVID, they're going to probably set us back a little bit. But we have the outside support, but we don't have the inside support, like you said, with yourself, with our alumni. If our alumni would get on board with the outside support, ain't no telling what we can accomplish.
So, Coach James, can you turn the screen around just a little bit? Just turn it. You know, don't
yeah, sure.
Just turn it. And what I'm gonna say is, while you're turning your phone, so this is the Torii Hunter Complex. So this is state of the art. So there's no excuse, young guys. And I'm mentioning this to my young ball players, especially up here in Chicago. It's state of the art. So there's no saying, hey, the facilities are whack. They got 8-tunnel batting cage to the right. You know, I looked at the plans actually when it was getting developed. So it's a beautiful thing. But like I said, we're going to have to support UAPB and all the SWAC schools. So Coach James, I'm going to have a lot of, oh, hold on. Shout out to Anthony Olivo, the director of the ACE program, just signed on. What's up, Big Ant?
Right. Hey, we had to keep this thing going. We got a lot of good people on here.
I see.
They got to ask some questions.
Yeah, so we're going to open the floor for questions. So Coach James, if a young, let's say a 14, 15-year-old wants to get in contact with you, want to send you their recruiting video or things they do well, where can they send that to?
They can send it to my email address. It's James, Jamesc, as in Carlos, at uapb.edu. And then speaking to that too, I'm glad you brought that up. Now, that gives us an opportunity to follow them and track them. One thing I like to warn guys from at that age doing is committing early. You know, just even at my side, if you commit to me at 15 years old, things change. You know, so just say, you know, you get rolling and you get pretty good and what if you get a better player? You know, as a coach, you're going to go, hey, I know you committed to me, but can you walk on? Can you do this? I think kids should actually wait until at least their junior year before they decide to early commit. You know, we get a lot of kids, especially African Americans, they commit to all these schools at 14, 15, 16 years old. And all of a sudden, when you commit, the code for coaches is we don't talk to you anymore, right? So then all of a sudden you get to school A and they decide they're bringing somebody else in, or somebody didn't leave or get drafted, then you out there, then they tell you, hey, you can walk on, then you end up at a junior college and, hey, nobody knows where you at, you know. So I caution kids about doing that. Keep all your options open. Even with UAPB, we had a kid last year that wanted to commit early, you know, 10th grade. And I was like, no, even though he put it out there, but I'm not going to do a kid like that because I don't know what my team going to look like or my finances going to even look like by the time that kid gets here. You know, now if he's a junior going to a senior year, then now I got a pretty good idea of who I got coming in, who I got leaving, you know. So, yeah, by all means, you know, send me a video and we can always stay in contact. And just like what you got, if I know when you playing in a tournament and it's somewhere where I'm recruiting, I'll drop in and watch them play. Or, you know, we can get something going where we can invite them here for a high school day where we show kids around our campus and then we bring them out to the field and things like that. So I'll be glad to get those videos though.
So Coach James, I know Instagram has a time thing.
Okay.
So I would have loved, you know, to continue this, but this is not the first one. So what's going to happen? I'm gonna ask you again, you know, as we conclude this interview, I'm gonna ask you again to drop your email, how a high school prospect can get in contact with you, and also where can UAPB alumni, former baseball players, or whoever wants to support you in the baseball, where can they donate money so it goes straight to the baseball fund?
Okay. For the baseball fund, it's 1200 North University Drive. That's mail slot 4891. And that's Pine Bluff, Arkansas 71601. And just make it in care of UAPB baseball and put my name on it as well. That way I'll get it out of the mail slot.
Is there somewhere online that they can do that also?
Yeah, but right now all that stuff is down because we got now all these online classes. So you may go to it, it's going to kick you out right now. But as soon as I get that information, I'll definitely get that to you so you can pass that along.
Absolutely. And then also, so from this, what are two things that you want to see young baseball players do right now due to COVID, and then your college baseball players?
Well, right now, starting off, just staying safe, you know, just understanding that this is something that's pretty serious, and just kind of stay safe and understand that, you know, all of us, any of us we're not immune to what's going on and what's out there. You know, that's number one. But other than that, you know, it's just now you use this time to get your mind focused and getting ready for when the season do kick back up. You know, read books. I think that's huge. Reading books about baseball and about certain players and the things that they went through to get to where they had to get. Do a lot of research online for the schools that you're trying to choose or go to. Look at their rosters. Look who they got. How many seniors they got. How many sophomores they got. You want to know all that information, because use this time to do all your fact finding. Call the coaches. Most of us are available and around the office. So it wouldn't be hard to get in contact with us if you want to, speak to us about it. But also understand too where your talent level lies. Just because it may be a no for UAPB, it may be a yes for someone else. Just because Gremlin may not have room for you, you may have room somewhere else. So I understand that as a player as well. I think a lot of players automatically think that, just because it's HBCU, I can go there and actually play right away. But as well as I do, playing Division I is very hard. And the SWAC game is different from any game that I've been in. I much rather play the Power 5 schools than play the SWAC schools, because the game is totally different. The SWAC game is so fast and it's so unpredictable that it'll blow your mind. I mean, just this year against Prairie View, we were up 7-6 in the ninth inning with 2 outs and the bases loaded, and they drag bunt with two outs and 2 strikes and tie the game up. Like, who does that? Or I played against Coop and we throw a ball to the backstop and the guy scores from second. So you don't get that when you playing those other schools, and in certain situations in the SWAC, they're unpredictable. Like, you don't know what's going to go on. A guy may get on first base and he going to score on the base hit. Or you don't get that playing other schools. So just understanding that coming into Division I and coming into the SWAC is no different than playing anywhere else. You have to buy your time, and all of our coaches are astute enough to know when is your time and what positions we can put you in those games that's going to give you some success, because baseball is a failing game anyway. But if I put you in there against Ole Miss, the first time you get out here at UAPB and you get blown up, you may quit, So just understand we have your best interests at heart, and coming to HBCU is not a bad thing. I think it's actually a really good thing, because especially now you got really good coaches in our conference that actually care about their players and care about what happens to them afterwards. Now, before I go, I forgot about Christian Matz. He was a draft pick too. He's from Chicago, right? Shout out to him. Detroit Tigers picked him up, so can't forget about Christian, because we always talk all the time. I don't want him to get, he'll get mad. He'll start crying on me. Yeah, so yep. So shout out to Christian. He was my first draft pick actually at UAPB. So, shout out to him.
Yeah. So Coach Carlos James, man, I thank you for joining us on the recess. This is Coach Ida Outfield Giroux. Check back in with us next Friday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Like Coach Carlos said, you guys email him. Young guys, email him your videos. Get in contact with him. Parents, reach out to him. He's got a open door policy. It's coronavirus right now. We're quarantined.
Yeah,
he's not going nowhere.
When you get your 14U people together, maybe I can come up there, and when you talk to the parents, I can kind of educate them on the college process and the things that they need to start doing to get their kids ready to be eligible for D1. There's a lot of classes now that they have to take. Kids got to understand, when you get to 9th grade, you can't flunk anything, because you can't take anything over now. Just explaining the process to them. I think a lot of our parents don't know the process, and it's up to us HBCU coaches and you guys connecting us together to be able to bridge that gap so they can have that knowledge on how the recruiting process actually works.
Absolutely, brother. All right, Coach James, I know Instagram, they're going to kick us off, but this is not the last time. And
all right.
text me the information so I can make this donation and we can make this thing go. All right, Coach.
All right, peace.
All right.
I remember way back when.